Yes, indeed. Welcome to the Friday edition of Off the Wire. I am your host, Noel Olin, aka the Cajun Libertarian. Stick with me today because I have an absolute banger of an episode for you. Before we get started, please like the show or smash that like button. Share the show with your friends because word of mouth is still the most successful vehicle to spread the information out and get people to tune in and subscribe. Hit the notifications bell so every time I go live, you can know about it and you can join us. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically anywhere you get your podcast, a 5-star review would be incredible. And also YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter and Facebook. All right, now that the house cleaning is out of the way, well, for the most part, please go follow at _Infinite Zeal, my man. Thank you for sponsoring the show. I think this is 3 months in a row now. This man is literally, even when I've been inconsistent with the show, he still supports the movement. Great dude. Go follow him on Twitter at _Infinite Zeal. Check out the link in his bio. Thank you, brother. All right. So let's get started. We have a few things of order that we need to talk about today because this is getting buck wild. Before we do, let's check in on the progressive left and see how they're doing. Yeah. Par for the course. All right, so as expected with them. First thing up, I want to give you a white pill. We are winning in some areas. Here's one. This is freaking fantastic. Biden admin shells out over $5 million to give journalists that are to give journalists trauma-informed support if they are getting trolled. It's working. Don't stop. Now is no time to quit. Foot to gas. Troll these absolute propagandists. It's working. So much so that they need mental health. Outstanding. Don't let up. This from the Daily Caller, September 19th. The Biden administration has approved $5.7 million in grant funding to George Washington University to create a program that will provide psychological care to journalists who believe they are the targets of quote-unquote misinformation-driven harassment campaigns. You are the driving of misinformation, journalists. Full stop. You deserve every bit of it. The program called Expert, you deserve every bit of the trolling, by the way. You don't deserve any of this money. The program called Expert Voices Together is described in the government grant database as a, quote, socio-technical system that provides real-time support to experts experiencing online harassment, end quote. The project's goal is to provide journalists and eventually other, quote-unquote, experts, okay, yeah, we all know where that's going, with means of monitoring and reporting alleged abuse, as well as personalized assistance with digital safety and access to mental health care specialists as a form of trauma-informed care. The National Science Foundation, the NSF, first allocated $749,222 in funding to George Washington University in 2021 and approved the project for continuation in 2022, approving an additional $5 million in, you guessed it, taxpayer funds. So if we're going to have to pay for it, ramp it up. It's working. So much so they need mental health. Oh. Foot to gas. Foot to gas. That's my dog in the background, if you can hear him. Sorry about that. Male person just pulled up. All right, in less exciting news, let me rephrase that. In more infuriating news, the Pentagon exempts Ukraine operations from potential government shutdown. Incredible. Politico 921. We're just tax slaves for foreign countries. It's unbelievable. This is completely out of control. The Pentagon will exempt its Ukraine operations from a potential shutdown if lawmakers can't agree on a deal to fund the government by the end of the month, allowing key training and other activities in support of Kyiv's forces to move ahead uninterrupted, according to a Defense Department spokesperson. If lawmakers fail to reach an agreement and government appropriations lapse, the Department of Defense has decided to continue activities supporting Ukraine. DoD spokesperson Chris Sherwood told Politico Thursday, just hours after our international welfare queen, President Vladimir Zelensky, met with Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Joint Joint Chiefs Chair General Mark Milley and other senior leaders at the Pentagon. Quote, Operation Atlantic Resolve is an expected activity under a government lapse in appropriations, Sherwood said. Appropriate name right there, Sherwood. referring to the named operation for DoD's activities in response to the Russian invasion. The move means that the U.S. military's activities related to the war, such as training of Ukrainian soldiers on American tactics and equipment. Well, how are we doing that if we don't have any boots on the ground there? Explain that. Because we do. As well as shipments of weapons to Kyiv will continue despite any potential shutdown. This is absolutely maddening. This has to stop. It has to stop immediately. It should have never started in the first place. This is clear corruption and money laundering. And every one of you mouth-breathing, smooth-brained morons that has a Ukraine flag in your bio, this is your fault. You co-sign this. We are not a nation of laws. We never have been. We are a nation of political will, and we always will be. Shout out to Steve Dace. This is what that looks like. So long as they have your stupid support for this clear money laundering scheme, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it. While you're broke. You go to work every day. You pay for your gas. You pay for your groceries. You're taxed to death. You can barely afford rent. But we got to make sure that we're funding a proxy war against the world's largest nuclear arsenal. This is unbelievably out of control, corrupt on every level, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. You know how stupid you have to be to not see this for what it exactly is? My goodness. Now, I'd like to say a lot more, but I'll wrap up this segment with somebody who, I can't say it any better than he has. My man, Justin Amash. Shout out to Justin. Thank you for following me on Twitter, brother. Even if Congress doesn't appropriate money, the Pentagon will keep funding Ukraine. As I've said, we do not have a representative government. We have not had one for a while. We have an oligarchy with the ornamentation of representative government. I cannot say it any better myself. This is exactly what it is. It's exactly what it looks like. It's an oligarchy disguised as a representative republic under the guise of a quote-unquote democratic process. As I said Wednesday, do you feel represented? Because this isn't what representation looks like. Stop sending my money overseas. Incredible. And last but not least, as we wrap up today's show and head into the weekend, I truly do hope that each and every one of y'all have a fantastic weekend. We need to talk Donald Trump. We just have to, because he's the leading candidate for the Republican Party. By far. It's not even close. I'm fairly certain that unless something major happens, like he gets removed from the ballot, which they are trying to do, he's going to be the nominee. I mean, he's got this thing wrapped up. He's miles ahead. It's not even close. DeSantis is the second place guy, and he's nowhere even close. So he did I'm guessing he's at Mar-a-Lago right here. I'm not really sure, but he's talking to a crowd. Let's hear what he has to say.
I sat down for an hour, and then I did a Megyn Kelly one, and she had, boy, she became nastier all of a sudden. She was pretty nasty, didn't you think? Anybody that watched?
Now, I'm sure that most of you have seen some of the clips. This was by far the best Trump interview I've ever seen. Megyn did a great job. A great newfound respect for Megyn Kelly, for sure. Great job. Even Tucker Carlson didn't go after Trump like this. She actually asked real questions. Let's check some of those out.
Can a man become a woman?
In my opinion, you have a man, you have a woman. I think part of it is birth. Can the man give birth? No. Although they'll come up with some answer to that also someday. I heard just the other day they have a way that now the man can give birth. No, I would say I'll continue my stand.
Let me ask you a question, conservatives, because I know I have a large conservative audience. Let me ask you something. You still rocking with this guy? Seriously? Because I don't think he knows what time it is. I truly don't. And the next clip is far more egregious than this one. There is no way that you're asked this very easy question that my 4-year-old can answer. You go, well, I don't know. Maybe if they can get pregnant, but I don't think they can. So, no. It's just no. It's so obviously no. And he can't even answer that question. You might as well have sat him down in front of Congress like Ketanji Brown Jackson, and he just said, you know what? I don't know. I'm not a biologist. That's just as good as an answer as that crap. How are you still rocking with this guy? Which brings me to my final clip. By far, for me personally, and I sure hope for the vast majority of libertarians and Republicans that this is the most egregious. This is why he is politically unforgivable, in my opinion.
That the reason you didn't fire Anthony Fauci was because he'd been there for a long time, that you would have taken heat, that it would have created a firestorm, quoting your words. Then for the first time in May...
I also said I didn't listen to him too much.
I'm getting there. But then in May, you started saying, well, he's a civil servant, so I couldn't technically. The truth is, though, not only did you not fire Fauci, who is loathed by many millions of Republicans in particular, but also some Democrats.
By the way,
you made him a star. You made him a star. This is the criticism of you, that you made him the face of the White House coronavirus task
You think so?
force, that he was out at every presser, that he was running herd for the administration on COVID, and that you actually gave him a presidential commendation before you left office. Wouldn't you like a do-over on that?
I don't know who gave him the commendation. I really don't know who gave him the commendation.
Presidential commendation. One went out to Mark
Somebody
Milley, too.
probably handed him a commendation. But let me just tell you about Fauci.
That's just a bold-faced lie. You know it's the presidential commendation. This man does not know what time it is. He doesn't. He's still out there bragging about warp speed. He's still in that interview with Megyn Kelly, still saying he doesn't deserve the credit he gets for COVID. Are you kidding me? He doesn't know what time it is. Clearly. 2020 was the worst presidential year of my lifetime. You handed the entire country, and by default, by extension, the earth, to Anthony Fauci. You know how much support you could get if you just would tell the freaking truth and for once take a tiniest dose of humility and just say you got it wrong. You got it exponentially wrong. By orders of magnitude. You gave that little freaking tyrant a presidential commendation. You put him up there in front of that freaking TV every day. Own it. He doesn't know what time it is. Look, I like Trump great as a personality. He's genuinely funny. He's wildly entertaining. And by all metrics, what he did to get the media to expose themselves throughout the course of his presidency was a massive success. This ain't the same guy, and he doesn't know what time it is. And let's be real. I'm a libertarian. I'm not voting for either one of those crap parties. But we ain't winning either. We win a lot of local offices, thank God, because that's where the focus should be. Make local politics sexy again. That's where you win. But we ain't winning the presidency. So if we're going to stop the obvious demonic progressive cult from driving America off the cliff while the Republicans are happy to ride in the freaking trunk of the Democrat Party, then we need the Republicans to do it. And you, his base, y'all are the ones that are going to need to put the pressure on this guy and make him know what time it is. The Democrats are driving us off a cliff at record speed. And we can't even get a speed bump from the garbage GOP, which is an absolute freaking dumpster fire with this guy in charge. It's maddening. It's maddening. So I guess in reality. And I think the vast majority of people know this. But if you don't, you're welcome. You ain't voting your way out of this. Now, all week, I've been talking about getting prepared. If this doesn't exemplify exactly why you need to self-govern and not rely on some political savior, I don't know what to tell you. I truly don't. Because this is the guy y'all are rocking with. I'm saying y'all, I'm speaking to any of the hardcore Trumpers that follow me and watch the show. I know I'll have some. And I love you. I love all y'all. Everyone that watches the show, everyone that appreciates truth and science and liberty. You know, we're on the same team. We can work out the differences later. But in the meantime, we have got to end this progressive madness. We have to. You ain't going to do it like that. Still bragging about warp speed. Still bragging about, now lying straight out, saying he didn't make Fauci a star. And Birx gave her a medal too. Can't tell you what a woman is. Spent more money than the world has ever seen in 2020. Complete miserable failure, supported every lockdown, criticized governors that wanted to open. And now coming out with a video saying we will not comply. You started this. We have two options. You can put pressure on this man, the leading candidate for the Republican Party, to go against Joe Biden next year, if that even happens. You need to put pressure on him and make him know what time it is. Or you need to go with someone else that does. I know if I was a conservative, it's Vivek 2024 all day. That man knows what time it is. Does he have some policy prescriptions that I do not appreciate and do not co-sign? Absolutely. 100%. But he knows what time it is. Ron DeSantis, for the most part, knows what time it is. Now, just a reminder of why we got on that topic of Donald Trump.
I sat down for an hour, and then I did a Megyn Kelly one, and she had, boy, she became nastier all of a sudden. She was pretty nasty. Didn't you think? Anybody that watched?
Those clips you just saw that I played for you and commentated on, that's what he's referring to. So let me translate for those that may not comprehend it. If you don't ride the Trump pole to the end of the earth, then you're nasty to him. She did nothing wrong. She was outstanding. She did what she was supposed to do. That's how journalists act. Which is also a good reason why Megyn Kelly doesn't need the funds from the first segment. She don't need no mental health training from trolls because she knows what time it is. Why can't Trump? He's calling her nasty for doing exactly what nobody else in the conservative movement had the balls to do. Congrats to Megyn Kelly. It's time to wake up. The GOP and just the conservative movement as a whole is not serious. This ain't a game. We have to win. We have to win. And by we, I mean the liberty movement. Because this is the guy currently in the driver's seat.
Now, even as we evolve our institutions and drive creative new partnerships, let me be clear. Certain principles of our international system are sacrosanct.
That's who's running the show, or whoever is his puppet master. This has to end. It has to end. We'll leave it right there. Thank you very much. I love each and every one of you. If you haven't already, please smash that like button, share the show with your friends, and follow me everywhere and subscribe. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday, same Cajun time, same Cajun channel. Galatians 2:20, and I am